All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Who's Right podcast and an off day Monday. Finally, we split the series with the Padres. I know going in we were okay with a split, but that last game we wanted that series win. But before we get into it, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us your comments, let us know how you're feeling. And Victor, how you doing?
Not doing great, and you know what? It's just because of that last win. Still leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, and especially since the Braves are playing tonight and they're blowing out the Minnesota Twins 9-1, and there's just been 2 innings, and so it's 9-1 in 2 innings. That game is delayed, but it just seems like the Atlanta Braves are just getting further and further away. After tonight, we'll be 3 games out of that wild card spot, and it's just one of those seasons. We win the games that we shouldn't, and we're losing a lot of the games that we should win. Ryan Finkelstein put out a stat of how we should have turned out in April, or I mean, sorry, in August, and we should have been, having 5 or 6 more wins than we actually do, and would be up on the Braves a game and a half. But it's baseball. Still a lot of baseball to play. We still control our own destiny. As much as we can go watch those scoreboards, we still control our own destinies. We just got to go out and win some ball games.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is the struggle that you have with a 500 team, right? You're supposed to win some games that you lose, and you lose some games that you're supposed to win, and even the good teams lose games that they're supposed to win because nobody goes 162 and 0. But with a 500 team, it's just more glaring because it's a 500 team. Half the time, you're frustrated with this team, and Evan Roberts kind of said it well. Is that this offense goes silent? And going into the season, we kept talking about how our offense was going to lead the charge, and too many times we're like hide and go seek with this offense.
And that's the scariest part is that when we're down in games, our offense doesn't seem to be able to rally. When it's a close game, our offense just hasn't been able to rally and get those crucial runs that win us those ball games. That's gonna pay dividends, or it's gonna mean a lot in the playoff run. And if we're not able to do that now, we need some more magic going on in the playoffs if we expect to make it that far.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's recap the game really quick, the series really quick. And on Thursday, our offense showed up, and we were a little worried about Severino coming off of that complete game, and he didn't have a game where he went long, but he did give us solid 5 innings, and so I can't expect any more than that. After the complete game, and so I'm kind of happy with the way that game turned out.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sevi, you could tell that he was just with fatigue going into that 5th inning. And, with help from his defense, he was able to finish that. I would say that our defense has played really well to back up our starting pitching and our pitching in general. And that's just been what's been keeping us afloat in the starts like this because Severino obviously was giving up some balls, and he should have been out of that game in that 5th inning. And luckily he was able to get out of it. We had all contributions from all sides of the ball. All sides of the offense. Jeff McNeil, Mark Vientos, and Francisco Lindor up there producing straight off the bat to get this game started. You just had a good feeling after that 1-0 lead in that 1st inning that it was going to be a good game and a good series.
Yeah, and again, this is going off of what we talked about. Winning the games. Again, we put it to Dylan Cease, and so and so we show up against the good pitchers, and then going to game two because there's other than go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing, and that's just on Brazaban. Huascar, went out there and looked like he was about to faint out on that mound. But oh, captain, my captain, Francisco Lindor, rallying him on and trying to encourage him to get through that ninth was just a thing of beauty. Frustrating to see Huascar Braziban give up those 2 runs. Great to see our offense break out, so that we don't have to worry about um, anything like that. But I just love seeing our captain out there encouraging players just to get the job done.
Yeah, no, for sure. You love to see it. At the end of the day, you love to see the what Lindor did, but if you need that much encouragement, man, come on.
And he's
That's
back,
all I'm saying.
and he's back too because of that injury. But we'll talk about that now.
Yeah, yeah. And then game two, we made Musgrove look like he's Cy Young, a better pitcher than Dylan Cease, which is crazy, because Musgrove, yeah, he's had good years in the past, but he's hittable this year. Especially, because he's changed his arm slot because of the injury and stuff like that. And Blackburn didn't have it. You know, he tried to stay in there, and got hurt. Yeah, nothing pitching wise, but got a ball hit up the middle and hit his hand, and as everybody knows, he's on the IL, and most likely we're going to see McGill on Sunday.
Yeah, no, it's very frustrating to see, you know, Blackburn have a start like that. But that's what happens with a middle of the rotation kind of guy. He has his great quality starts, and then he has his blowups, and it's just unfortunate that he got hurt in this one, and that's the stinger. But one thing that I want to point out in this game is that the Mets had no walks. They were striking out. They struck out 14 times in that game. That is unacceptable. That is ridiculous. That is not something that you can even have. Musgrove is not a strikeout pitcher. Yeah, he paints the zone, but he's more of that ground ball, contact kind of pitcher. And we made him look Cy Young. We made him look better than Dylan Cease did. And a lot of that had to do with all of our guys striking out. I'm grateful to Starling Marte for being able to break up that perfect game. But at the same time, Starling Marte has not looked great, and we'll talk about him a little more during our concerns. But for Musgrove to go those six innings, right, on 85 pitches, he was just cruising, and very frustrating to see on a guy that if we only beat up on Musgrove in this series and lost the other 3 games, I would have been happy. I'm going to say it. I would have been happy of just being on up on Musgrove.
Slow down, slow down, slow down. Be easy. I know he's a cheater, but we don't want to talk crazy. But yeah, actually, Evan was talking about it today, about how much this team strikes out, and it's crazy how much this team strikes out. Everybody's either swinging for the fences, or that's it. They're swinging for the fences and they're striking out, and but I don't want to harp on this game too much because it was a miserable game, like you mentioned, a lot of strikeouts, something that nobody's really talking about. Evan Roberts was the first one that I hear talk about it, and we do need to talk about it more because that's not good. Striking out, not putting the ball in play. How many times have we come across this summer where all we needed to put a ball in the outfield, put it in play, and the run would have scored from third? And so we're seeing that too much this year, but they're striking out. Going to game three, Peterson saves the series, and pitches another quality start, goes 7, and and it's there's not enough things to say about Peterson. He's right now with Manaya and Severino are 1, 2, and 3, and so we always thought that he was going to have the stuff. but he never showed out. And it might have been that hip injury that he came back from that was holding him back. And now we see the Peterson that we expected.
Yeah, no, beautiful stuff from David Peterson. Now he's got his ERA below a 3, and it seems like every time he's on the mound, the Mets win. They're he's now 8-1, but I think the Mets are 11-4 or something like that with David Peterson on the mound, and he just gives that winning energy. And you know why? Because he puts his everything into that start. And what he does well is he throws strikes. He didn't strike out many batters in this one. He only struck out 2, but he threw a lot of pitches in the strike zone, and he only had 3 walks, which was really big. Would have loved to see him get the walk rate a little bit down, um, but at the same time, we can't ask for a better start from David Peterson, going 7 again. 7.1. This is the first time we see him in the 8th inning, right? And he
Yeah,
actually be able to produce an out. So a beautiful thing from him. Loved seeing Nunez back. Loved that he was able to finish off the game for David Peterson. Looking
yeah.
electric. Looks like the new setup guy. To be honest, it looks like he's back to being that setup role, and maybe even the B-side closer if it does come to that. But this was the Francisco Lindor game. Francisco Lindor for MVP. We us Mets fans might be the only one chancing it, but we really believe it.
Yeah. Oh no. If it wasn't for Tani having a ridiculous season himself, there'd be no question that Lindor's the MVP of the season. Because there's nobody else. He's had that slow start, but I expected it, so I wasn't too worried about it, and I knew that Lindor was going to show out, and then going up to that leadoff position, that's where I wanted him the whole time, and and he's shown why I wanted it up there because that's his spot. I think the pressure's off at leadoff. When he's batting third, I think he puts a little bit more pressure on himself. At leadoff, he's just trying to get on base. So I think that's a perfect spot for him. And with his speed, get those steals going, stolen bases going. So yeah, this is the Francisco Lindor game. Not to be outdone by Peterson and Nunez coming back. And he is our setup guy right now. Because even when Nunez wasn't, when Nunez was on the IL, they didn't use Budo as a setup guy. So we didn't have a setup guy, to be honest with you. And I think now, you're going to see more of Nunez and Diaz back to back because he's going to be the new setup guy.
Yeah, no, and that's something that I think will definitely relieve Budo because although he does well in those high leverage spots, we haven't seen him too much in late innings unless it's a blowout game to close out the show. And so, he's in that point in his his season where he's probably feeling some fatigue, and the same might go for Nunez, but this injury might have helped him get a little more rest and is able to get out there and do well. Uh, love seeing Harrison Bader break out of his skid too. Let's hope that he can get back and play some good ball. He had a home run in this one, and from our 9 hitter, that's all that we can ask for is a couple home runs here and there and play some play some great defense. And so Harrison Bader, a lot of people will hate on him for the offense he's put out, but when he plays stellar defense, I can't complain.
Well, he's to me, he's still a fourth outfielder. I've said that from the beginning. But he is our guy this year. Unless Gilbert comes up and starts smashing, maybe Gilbert's the guy that comes up. But we'll get to that later. Game 4. Obviously, Quintana, gets it done. Right, Quintana gets it done, and he bounces back from the last couple of starts that he had. Gave us a quality start. Went into the 7th. Some would question him going into the 7th. I'm okay with it. Budo came in and cleared the way in the 7th, but came back out in the 8th and just didn't have it. And so some would say that you needed to have Diaz ready, but Budo's been one of our better pitchers. So that's a tough call for me. I think it was handled all right. You expect Budo to get out of it, but you can question, maybe Diaz coming in earlier, and because he was going to go too, because it seemed, because you're coming in the ninth in a tie game, it looks like you're going to go two, at least two, because you're going to go into the 10th inning. So, there's some questionable calls, maybe, but at the end of the day, our bats went silent again.
Yeah, this was a frustrating game. We just talked about how Francisco Lindor had his game, the game of his MVP case in Game 3. But in Game 4, he came up short. It would have been a completely different game if he was able to get in there and knock in some runs in that fourth with Boeing on the mound. But this Padres bullpen is just so darn good, man. And we got to see all of their weapons in that last game. We didn't see much of them from Game 1 to Game 3, but they really threw it all out there because it really felt like a playoff game that we just kind of let get away from us. And it was just very frustrating that our only offense came from JD Martinez blast and a Mark Vientos blast. But when you don't execute on those pitches or on the opportunities that you get, then the game just gets away from you. And this is one of those games that once that opportunity got away from Francisco Lindor, there were no more opportunities because everyone that was on that mound were striking out. And this is again what we were talking about with those strikeouts. 11 strikeouts in this game. That's just frustrating stuff to see, especially in that ninth inning after Budo gives up that lead for um, for what's his name to come in and pitch a scoreless ninth inning and just kind of just blow everyone out of the water was just
Oh,
you knew that game
Suarez,
was up. You knew that
yes,
game was over.
yeah, Suarez comes in, and he's been lights out this year. And and yeah, you're right. Our bats didn't take advantage of the opportunities they had. Because they do have a solid bullpen. And big shout out to Yuki. Absolutely, Peterson, Quintana, and Sevi uh, showed out this series. And
Yuki
so
looked pretty good in this series too. I'll say that Yuki looked good, except for that home run that he gave up to Francisco Lindor. So Yuki, just don't pitch to Francisco Lindor next time. And other than that, you look great.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he's a rookie, so we'll be seeing him for a while. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into the next segment. Any concerns? For me, I'm gonna just do it as a collective. The strikeouts. We got to put more balls in plays. I wasn't even. I know I've noticed it, but when Evan Roberts pointed it out today, I was like, you know what? They do strike out too much. You always see Alonso striking out. He had a good hit. Or a lucky hit, and to score the first run in game three. But then he strikes out for the next three at bats, and so and same with JD Martinez. Obviously Nimmo's been striking out way too much this year. And Lindor too. When he's not doing his heroics, he's striking out. So this team strikes out way too much.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this on my way home today. But what would it take for us to get JD Martinez to retire to come in as the full time hitting coach? Because I'm kind of tired of this Eric Chavez approach to the plate. He talked about it a little bit to the media about how he wants his batters to hit for average, and when you got a lineup that are half power hitters, then that's just not going to work. And you might strike out a lot by trying to do that. And so my concern was with Eric Chavez, and I think we're just kind of seeing all of that come to fruition all this in this last little stretch of this season. But earlier in the year, I don't think he did a great job of kind of coaching these guys up. We've seen Francisco Alvarez be kind of a shell of himself, and it's just been tough. And like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Yuki points out my other concern, but that's with Starling Marte, because it's so frustrating when he comes up to the plate with men on base and is not able to drive in runs, and he's just striking out. And then in his next at bat, he's driving in or he shoots a single to right field or a double to right field with nobody on base. He's just an
Yeah.
unclutch hitter, and I don't think that the Mets really can afford that in this lineup.
Well, I mean, you talk about JD coming in and being the hitting coach, but at the end of the day, he's striking out himself. So I don't think this is on Chavez. The guy striking out. It got to have the Iglesias approach, right? Iglesias wants to put the ball in play. So that means getting the bat on the ball, no matter what. And so if you're hitting for average, um, you know you're going to be close to 300, right? I'm not expecting you to be a 300 hitter, but Iglesias is a 300 hitter, right? And he hates to strike out. He says he wants to put the ball in play. So I think it's a mindset. When two strikes are on, you're not swinging for the fences unless you get a cookie, right? And so I think it's a mindset, it's an approach, and it's an individual mindset and approach. I don't think it's a collective, even though the team as a collective is striking out, because you got guys like Iglesias, 300 hitter, and he's saying, I don't want to strike out. So why aren't people listening to Iglesias, right? So I think it's these guys are just striking out too much. There's not enough pride in the in the act of not striking out like there used to be. And these guys are still with the new mindset that striking out is okay.
And something's got to give, man. Like I know Francisco Lindor goes out to talk to his players every day, and it's great. But he needs to be in their ear about these. If he's really wanted to take that captain role, he really needs to encourage these guys to get back on pace when situations like the ones that we saw where men are on base and people are striking out, or the situation of just the amount of strikeouts that we've had as the whole team. Um, he's the guy that you point to and say, like, hey, go talk to your guys and make sure that they have a good approach to the plate, so they're not just swinging for the fences and striking out, because it only works out so
But
much.
but here's the thing: Lindor's striking out too. So you can't go to your guys, say don't strike out, and you're striking out too. Obviously he's putting the ball in play more than the other guys, but the one chance we had in Game 4, it was Lindor's chance, and he struck out. Well, we had a couple chances, but Lindor came up in the back in the big spot, and he struck out. He made the fastball unhittable. So it's just I think it's an individual mindset, right? You got Pete struggling all year, and swinging for the fences on every swing. JD swinging at sliders like he never used to. He never used to chase like this, right? So that's on JD. Vientos is a guy who we want him to cut down the chase rate. So we wanted him to be a little bit more like JD, but he's still chasing too much. And obviously, Alvarez is chasing way too much. And we were hoping that he broke out with that game-winning home run, but I guess he didn't. So I think it's a whole team approach, individually though, not as a. I'm not going to put this on the hitting coach, because you got to have an attitude not to strike out like Iglesias for me.
Yeah, and I mean, we want to point the blame as Mets fans to somebody in this organization for the reason things are going wrong, and that rightly so. I think there is a reason that there's something is going wrong. There's just not a way to pinpoint who that actually is. Is that on Mendoza for the way that he's coaching these guys? Is that on the hitting coaches, or is that on one of these guys that are just not producing well, or all the guys that are just not producing well. But at the end of the day, we're coming into a stretch of the season where we just can't afford to strike out as much as we are. We're facing much better pitching, and in this Diamondback series, it's really going to show because the Diamondbacks have some great pitchers that they're going to throw out on that mound.
Yeah, I know, and going to Yuki's point about Iglesias being in the minors, that's just they actually talked about it this year. No call, nobody was calling Iglesias. Even though he's had these years before, and it's only because the computers don't like him. It has nothing to do with his play on the field. It has to do with when they run the numbers, and because we're so analytically driven that even though we see Iglesias doing what he's doing, which he's been doing it for the last 10 years, um, he doesn't get a shot. And they talked about it in the broadcast where Iglesias actually talked about it, and the crew talked about it. And, Steve did a little segment on why he didn't get signed last year, and it's only because the computers don't like Iglesias. It's not about the type of player that he is. It's all about the computers with Iglesias.
Yeah, no. But at the end of the day, we just need to be better. We have a 3 game stretch coming up with these Diamondbacks, and it's going to be really telling. This could be. We talked about how this road trip is going to be the definition of our season, and it's really going to come down to these 3 games with the Diamondbacks. If we can win this series, then we win the season series, and are looking in a much better spot. But like I said, the Braves just keep on winning and making that gap a little further. We got 3 more games with them this year, and that series is looking a lot more crucial than we're putting it out to be. But we got to figure it out on both sides of the ball. Our bullpen needs to be better, and our bats just need to come alive again.
Yeah, or at least not strike out as much. Now that Evan Roberts pointed out, man, I'm gonna be like a hawk looking at these strikeouts all game. So yeah, let's get into the who's right part of the podcast. Obviously the hitter of the game was or the series was Lindor. We didn't none of us pick Lindor. I don't know why he's the MVP, but but the pitcher Peterson was the pitcher of the series, and that notch goes to you. And the Mets killer was the 29-year-old rookie Mason McCoy, because he was just like a thorn. We expected a rise to be the thorn. No, it was Mason McCoy.
He was just so frustrating. Every time he'd come to the plate, when you need a big out, he seems like he was walking each time or putting the ball in play. And that I think that justifies being a Mets killer. But seeing your pick and Jackson Merrill put the ice cherry on top was very frustrating to see. He's one of those guys that I think is deserving of the Rookie of the Year, even over a guy like Paul Skeens. And so. But it's going to be a tough stretch. He's a great rookie, and I think that the Padres have a good guy having him up. And David Peterson again, looks fine. Finally looks steady. Love that he's finally playing consistent ball, and not trying to do too much. He's just throwing strikes and making sure that he gets weak contact. And I know that sounds like a lot, but for David Peterson, he makes it look simple. And
Yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah.
And Yuki was right there with you, man, with the Peterson pick. I think that we should be going with the hot hand, and I think we're picking guys to hope that they succeed. And so not for nothing. Vientos did have a good series, but Lindor just had a better one. So.
Yeah. No, Lindor is just playing, on another level right now. We talked about his bad start, being a historically bad start. Well, he's having a historically good season now.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's having his best season for sure. So let's jump into the preview of the next series. Like you said, we need to take 2 out of 3. Tomorrow, it's going to be Manaya and Erod. Your boy Erod, the battle of the lefties. So that's going to be a good matchup tomorrow. And then Sebi, going against Brandon Fott. I know the last time we went up against Fott, we made him look like Cy Young. Let's hope that we don't repeat that. And then on Thursday, which is going to be the conversation of this series, is we don't have a starter announced yet, uh, but it would have been Blackburn, but because of the days off, it actually hits on Peterson's normal rest. But we're going against Nelson, and the question is, for this series, or for the last game of the series, do we pitch Peterson on normal rest? Because at the end of the day, Peterson's only pitched half a season, right? Because he came in late because of the injury. So it's not like he's fatigued like the other guys. Um, you know, and and keep the bullpen the way it is. Keep an extra man in the bullpen, and then on September 1st, we have the call ups and the pitcher, extra pitcher on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd love to see David Peterson in the series because it's so crucial. It would be amazing to have him kind of close up that rubber match if that's what it comes down to. And I think that's going to be what determines the decision on is if that game is that vitally important. Do we see David Peterson? And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tyler McGill in that bullpen just traveling with the team, and then them just not waiting to announce it on Thursday to see where they are in this series. But we're like we talked about. This Diamondbacks team is dangerous on the mound. They have really good starting pitching. Jordan Montgomery is starting to get back to Jordan Montgomery of the postseason, and we're glad not to see him there, but for us to see Ryan Nelson, who is just starting to come into his own, Brandon Fat and Fott and Eduardo Rodriguez, who I remember back when he was with Detroit, just carving up the Mets, is going to be a tall task for the Mets to get through. But like we said, it's going to come down to our bats because our pitching can only keep us in games so long.
Well, and the thing is about why another reason why Peterson should be the guy that should be pitching is because if you do have McGill pitching on Thursday, you got to send a pitcher down. So and is it worth sending a pitcher down for 2 days? Because that's all it is. It's Friday and Saturday. And so that's the question. I mean, it all depends how much they because I still think if they do go your route, which McGill pitching on Thursday, it'd be Brazaban going down, and so it's one of those things that I don't know. Me personally, I want to see Peterson pitch, uh, just because it's only 2 days, and McGill can pitch on Sunday against the
No,
White Sox.
yeah, I think that would make more logistical sense too, just for them to have him pitch. And they say that you saying Yuki that they demoted Jordan Montgomery. I don't think that's true, but that would be really funny. Um, you know, he's pitched a little better. I know why they would. He had a rough start to his season, but I'm sure once playoffs come around, that's when Jordan Montgomery pitches his best, and so maybe they'll save him just for the playoffs and hope that he can get back to postseason form. But you know, I think you're up this time, right? Or
No,
am I
no,
up?
you're
All right. So I'm gonna go with the guy that we can't deny at this point. I think Yuki already picked him, but I'm gonna double up on him and go with Francisco Lindor. I don't know why we go through this podcast without one of us picking Francisco Lindor.
No, for sure, for sure. I don't know either. I let me just see right here real quick. Um, I am going to pick. I was thinking. No, I'm gonna still go with it. I'm gonna double up. I'm gonna go with Vientos because at the end of the day, Lindor and Vientos are the two best hitters right now for the Mets. I'm gonna go with Vientos because I think uh, I think he's gonna get to this Arizona pitching.
Oh man, I didn't even realize that he got demoted to the bullpen, and there was a whole thing with Scott Boras. Man, I don't know how I missed that. Oh, that must have just been, man, that's so crazy. That was just a few days ago. I missed that, but that's pretty crazy. Um, poor Monty. Feel bad for him, but what can you do? I wasn't even paying attention to who you picked, but go ahead and give me your Mets pitcher.
No, I didn't know. He got demoted to the bullpen either. Man, that's crazy. Let's. Hey, it's all good. Man, I wish we were seeing them then if we got demoted to the pitch to the bullpen. But yeah, no, I got Vientos. My pitcher. I'm gonna go with Thursday's pitcher. I think they're gonna pitch him, and I'm gonna go with Peterson.
Yeah, no, why wouldn't you? He's Mr. Consistent with us, and although he doesn't have the strikeouts, the Mets seem to put up runs when he's on the mound,
Well,
and that's reason enough.
and that's the thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm glad you said that. Is we get so caught up on these strikeout by the starting pitchers, and at the end of the day, all we want is for our pitchers to go deep, right? And Peterson doesn't strike out the world, but he's attacking the zone and he's going deep. Quintana did it on Sunday or yesterday. He was attacking the zone. He didn't strike out a lot of guys, but guess what? He pitched into the seventh. That's all you want. I don't care about the strikeouts. It was a great game. The guys held their bats quiet. Soft contact. And on Saturday we had a good offense. On Sunday we didn't, but the game moved quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I love that pick. I'm going to go with the guy that wasn't a strikeout pitcher and then kind of turned into one for a stretch of the season. And that's Sean Manaea. And I'm picking him because this first game is going to be so crucial for the momentum of the series. And if he doesn't pitch well, then I don't think it's going to be a good series for us. So we need Sean Manaea to go out and pitch well to show us the prime Sean Manaea that we've seen throughout this year, and and that'll I think set the precedence for the rest of this year or the rest of the series.
Well, and at the end of the day, we have if Peterson pitches on Thursday, we'll have our three best pitchers right now pitching in probably a pivotal series, right? We need to at least take two out of three from the series, and we're having our best pitchers, right? So hey, playoffs start today, right? If we really want to make a run for the playoffs, man, they start today, and why not get it started with our best pitchers going?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna go with for a Mets killer. I'm gonna go with an ex-Met and go with Luis Guillorme. No, I'm playing. I'm not going with Luis Guillorme. It's gonna be bittersweet seeing him play for them, and I'm not sure how much he's gonna play. But I'm gonna go with an actual Mets killer, someone that I still remember to this day from a game that I watched back in 2022, where he just hit homer after homer and for the San Francisco Giants. And he did this on the Braves too. Jock Peterson has just been a thorn in the Mets side, and he's put up great numbers for the Diamondbacks this year. And so, I think that we see him a lot in this series. Don't know how much rest he'll get, but if when he's out there, I can see him putting the ball in play and maybe out of the yard too.
Well, yeah, we probably won't see him tomorrow. With Manaya on the hump. So that's a good pick because he's been a thorn, he's been a pain wherever he went going against the Mets. I'm gonna go with Gurriel. He's also been in pain a lot of times, not only with his bat but with his antics. So, so I'm gonna just go with that. There was a couple other guys that I was thinking about, but I'm gonna just go with that guy. So
Yeah, yeah, and Yuki is going with Eugenio Suarez. He just came back and he's looking really good for them, and so that's a good pick. This Diamondbacks team is real fun. They play some great baseball, and every time they're out there, it's a joy to watch. It's not going to be fun for us to watch this series if things go their way, but this Mets team has some fight in them. Let's forget this last game. In baseball, you have to have a short-term memory and just move on to the next one. And let's hope that the Mets can dust off that last loss to the Padres.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So we need to take 2 out of 3. That's my prediction. And if not the sweep, let's get it done. And so let's move into some news and notes. Obviously, we kind of touched on the Blackburn news. Most likely it'll be McGill sometime this week. Hopefully on Sunday versus Thursday, and but the bitter news of the weekend was hearing about. The funny part is, I was looking for him in the box scores on Sunday. I was like, he hasn't played in a couple days. I haven't heard his name in a couple days, and I was looking for him, and come to find out, he's hurt, and that's Brett Beatty. Brett Brady was going to be the automatic call up on September 1st. And, I know Mendoza said he was one of the names, but that he was going to be the automatic guy to come up. And the question is now, because he's out for the season, the question is now, who comes up? Is it Drew Gilbert that is looking good coming back from injury? Is it DJ Stewart? Or is it somebody like Luis Angel Acuna?
I think Luis Angel just provides the most value to this Mets team that is looking for guys that can steal more bases and play good defense. And that's the value that he provides. And let us not forget that he's also on the 40-man roster. And so that would be an easy call up to make. DJ Stewart would, I think, be great for the team atmosphere. I think he is a fun guy to be around. But we don't need that anymore with Jose Iglesias on the mound, and I don't think he provides too much value on the field. And so Luis Angel, I think, just provides the most value over even a Drew Gilbert because although Drew Gilbert has the better bat and has the versatile outfield defense, Luis Angel can play both sides of the or all positions on the field. He can even play third base if you wanted to put him there, and so that's just going to be just so valuable. And so I think that's the pick that the Mets make come September.
Yeah, no, for sure, and I agree with you. I put it out there just for the dialogue, but I'm thinking it's Luis Longhead too, and I'm gonna use Evan Roberts' example. Right now, let's say whoever comes up, DJ Stewart, Luis Angel Acuna, or Drew Gilbert, they come up, and if they come up, when are they playing? Who are they playing for? Right? Even if Luis Angel comes up, with his versatility, who's he playing for? Right? Because Iglesias, the backup second baseman, is doing well, so he's not playing. Right? In the outfield, yes, we have Bader hurting right now, but we got Tyrone Taylor playing, right? So, and you're not going to sit Winker or Marte, right? And they're platooning in the right field. So, Drew Gilbert's not going to have a place to play. DJ Stewart's not going to have a place to play. And what Evan said was, but what can change is the base path, right? Luis Angel can steal you some bases, right? And he's a guy that you can pinch run for some guys in a critical moment because or put some speed on the bases, right? Not just steal some bases, but score on a potential double or single or what have you. And because there's a lot of slow guys on this team, and so that's the value that Luis Angel can bring.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. I think that's the best move that the Mets can make, and let's just wait and see. Very unfortunate for Beatty, though. I hope that he has a speedy recovery. But Yuki points out this infield in 2025 having Vientos at first, Ronnie at second, and Brett Beatty at third, and I love it. I don't know about you, but I'm loving that infield with the captain sitting at shortstop. And so, that's a great young team, great young core. Push Jeff McNeil to left or right field, and that's just gonna or off the bench and being that bench piece that can come in and give you a pinch hit. But love that young core right now, and I hope that they can all get healthy, get back, and play some great baseball so that they can make a case to starting role in 2025.
Well, at the end of the day, the question for McNeil is going to be, who do they believe McNeil is going to be? Is it first half McNeil or is it second half McNeil? And that's the question that they're going to have to answer, because we keep saying that you know push McNeil to the outfield, but we got Drew Gilbert coming. So we got a couple guys that are coming, and who knows who they're going to sign, right? If they, if we do go after Juan Soto or even Alex Bregman, even though I don't want Alex Bregman, but it's a guy that we're going to be talking about this offseason. So, but we'll get to the offseason. Right now we got work to do. We got to get this job done. We got to the playoffs start tomorrow night in Arizona. With the Mania on the mound, and we gotta get serious. This is the series. We're gonna get out of here. So subscribe to the channel, like this video. Hey, on replay, let us know what you're thinking. Uh, do we got a chance still? Let us know how you're feeling. Playoffs start tomorrow. How you feeling, Victor? Before we get out of here, any last words?
No, man. I mean, if we don't do anything this upcoming week, if our playoff hopes are dead, then might just have to turn some football on because I can't stand to watch these Mets kind of just crumble at the end of the year. Um, Obviously, that's a joke. I'm going to watch them to the bitter end, but let's just hope that we have something to root for come October and that we're playing some meaningful baseball down this stretch.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So, guys, until Friday morning, let's go Mets.
Let's go, Mets.